Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines, and I'm living the one light. And in this video, I am going to talk about something I haven't really talked about much, which is um, the upcoming Mercury retrograde. And I'm not a person who tends to get really attracted, or I guess drawn into Mercury retrogrades. They don't really call to me that often for whatever reason. But this one is really significant. It feels really, really significant to me. And I just think it is very significant. So I want to make this video to talk about the Mercury retrograde, give you a sense of the dates of it and the three phases of it, and talk about how it is really, I feel like, holding space for and tying together the two eclipses that we have coming up in this eclipse season. So I talk about this also in the Eclipse workshop that I gave last Monday, last week. But that Eclipse workshop is recorded and the recording is available. And so if you want to, really go much more in depth into the meaning of this whole eclipse season and also drop into a channeled guided experience of all of it, which I think was, in my opinion, the most important part of that workshop, please definitely still join that and enjoy it as much and as often as you like. It is there. But in this video, I just really want to give a sense of this Mercury retrograde, and again, feel into some aspects of it, see what's alive for you in it. I would love to hear what are you feeling in this time? What do you feel when you drop into what I'm about to share? I would really love this to be a conversation with all of us. So, all right, first, what I'm going to do is show you some dates. And I'm actually recording this video on Monday, March 18th, 2024, which is a really significant date in this Mercury retrograde dance. So let me back up actually one sec. So what I first want to say is that with any retrograde, and again, I go more into this in the eclipse workshop, but in any retrograde, there typically are three phases to it. We tend to focus only on the time that planet is going retrograde, but that's the middle phase. That's phase 2 of the retrograde, the whole retrograde period. So, so today, March 18th, we're actually starting phase 1 of this particular Mercury retrograde. The retrograde isn't starting until April 1st. So you're going to hear people talking mainly about the April 1st, Mercury is going to go retrograde. That's probably what most hype is going to be about. But I'll show you now, that there are actually 3 phases to the whole journey. And this first phase between March 18th today and April 1st is really, really key. And there's some really key things for you maybe to be just dropping into feeling in your own life what is coming alive, because not only is this phase 1 of a Mercury retrograde, but I'm going to show you Mercury today is on the north node of the moon. Okay, let me drop in a little to some of these dates, and then I'll kind of translate. All right. Okay, so here is the current Mercury dance. So Mercury, on March 9th, 2024, Mercury entered Aries. And it's been traveling through the first half of Aries since over the last 9 days. So Mercury moves pretty fast, right? Usually. When it's going direct, it's usually moving pretty fast. So it's already covered the first half of Aries. And today, March 18th, it is now reaching 15 degrees of Aries, which happens to be where the north node of the moon is. And I'll show you the chart in a second also, just so you can visually see that. But the other really significant thing about Mercury being on the North Node right now at 15 degrees of Aries is that on April 1st, when Mercury goes, not April 1st. So April 1st is when Mercury is going to go retrograde. Mercury is going to go retrograde at 27 Aries. I'm going to get to that in a second. But when Mercury goes direct, after it goes, back and then it goes direct again, it's going to go direct basically exactly where it is right now, also on the North Node of the Moon at 15 degrees of Aries. So what you can see here in the next slide is that from March 18th today until April 1st is phase 1 of the Mercury retrograde period journey. And so phase 1 is the time when Mercury or any planet that goes retrograde, first it goes down the road of its retrograde area for the first time. So people, when we're talking about the Mercury retrograde happening on April 1st, we only focus on that. We're missing the fact that from now, March 18th until April 1st, it's actually making its first pass over those same degrees of the zodiac, 15 Aries to 27 Aries, where it's going to retrace its steps in phase 2. Okay, so phase 1 typically, but you feel into this. I mean, I would really love to have this be a co-discovery of how does this feel. We're really paying attention to our own lives and, this time. Typically, phase 1 of any retrograde usually is a time when the issues or the energies of that retrograde journey start to kind of show up. It's like, what are the themes that are alive here? Okay, so I'm noticing in myself, I'm noticing in my life, XYZ theme kind of peeking its head. Or maybe I'm feeling a certain need for change in some way, or something is, I can just tell that, yeah, I need to take time to revisit such and such. That's typically how phase 1 will feel. So it might be really noticeable, it might not, but I would really recommend, and again, I would love to have this be a co-experience with all of us, between now, March 18th and April 1st, just notice what is coming alive in your life and the themes. So this is happening in Aries, and it's in particular starting at the North Node of the Moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron too. So there's so many layers there of what that means or what could come up, but some themes that are likely to be really, really prominent, maybe, you tell me what's alive for you, it are themes around our self-sovereignty, the balance of our own needs with the needs of others. So this Aries-Libra axis, this Aries-Libra dance and integration. There's also likely to be, themes around healing of our sense that we even deserve to exist, Aries. There could be a revisiting of wounding, Chiron, on the North Node in Aries around, do I feel like I deserve to exist? Do I feel like it's safe to exist? Definitely healing around the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but in particular, divine masculine, on and on. So, I mean, there's just so many things there, but those are the main themes that might arise. And then when Mercury then reaches where it's going to go retrograde, 27 degrees of Aries, right before it gets to that 27-degree Aries point, it makes a conjunction with Eris-Xena, the very powerful Kuiper belt object, right? So I did a free talk on Eris-Xena a few months ago. You're definitely welcome to watch that. Heather Ensworth has some beautiful, amazing talks on Eris-Xena, which I love, love, love myself. And she's just such a powerful energy. So, you know, you can look at those videos if you want to dive more deeply into her. But in general, Eris-Xena for me, especially Mercury in Aries conjunct Eris-Xena, is an energy of reminding us of our voice and how crucial each of our voices are. And so something that's been really alive for me is this kind of, you know, divine mandate that came through in the channeling of the Eclipse workshop. This feeling like it is time, like it is not negotiable anymore to not claim our voices, and we are the ones who have the power. Nobody else can give us the power of our voices. So a lot of us, especially I would say people of more marginalized groups, you know, I'm like women, for example, but people of any marginalized groups and just people in general, anybody, have really gotten the message that our voices don't matter in some way, or there's shame around that, or guilt, or, you know, on and on. And it can be really easy to blame outside forces of some kind for taking that power away. And the reality is, yes, absolutely, many outside forces have taken authority and have taken power. However, at this moment in time, for a lot of us, we have the ability and we have the responsibility to claim fully any and all power that we do have, which is a lot. So, and it's really, you know, like I am the only one who can choose to speak, like create this video, for example, right? It's nobody else can say to me, here, Martha, I give you permission. People can support me. People can encourage me, but no one can inside my being, inside my body, you know, flip the switch for me and make me feel safe or compelled to be the voice that is me. So, and that's true just for all of us. So, and of course, I mean, I realize that it's more nuanced than that and complex in many circumstances, etc. But in general, I think you get the point. So that's what Eris-Xena there is reminding me so much of. And so yeah, so phase 2 of this Mercury retrograde is going to be from April 1st to April 25th. That's going to be when, you know, in phase 1 from today, March 18th to April 1st, Mercury is now coming to 15 degrees of Aries. Today on March 18th, it's going to go to, and it's on the north node of the moon right now, and it's going to go to 27 Aries. And it's going to reach that 27 degrees of Aries point at April 1st, and it's going to turn around and go retrograde on April 1st, and then it'll enter phase 2, where it's retracing its steps. For that second time, it's going to go now back from 27 Aries back to 15 degrees of Aries from April 1st to April 25th, 2024. Okay, so what is really significant here also is that in the middle of phase 1, on March 25th, 2024, is our first eclipse. It's the lunar eclipse. Then in the middle, kind of toward the beginning, but middle-ish part of phase 2, so during the retrograde period, is when the second eclipse is going to be April 8th, 2024. So you can see that this Mercury retrograde is spanning the eclipse season. It's holding the eclipses, really. And then it's weaving them together, because Mercury is going to, Mercury is on the North Node, and it's going to conjunct, the place where the second eclipse is going to be, for example. So that's 19 degrees of Aries. So it's the energy of Mercury is doing this dance that's weaving together the whole eclipse time. And so what we're feeling in this Mercury retrograde with phase 1, phase 2 in particular, but also phase 3, is just, it's like, it's part of what Mercury does. Mercury is a bridge between worlds. And yeah, so anyway, I think you get my point. It's really, really significant, really beautiful, really powerful. Okay, so in phase 2, what is typical, what is common, but again, share with us what actually feels like for you. Typically in phase 2, during that actual retrograde period, usually, there is a sense of, now you've had phase 1 where you've gone down that road and you've noticed certain themes arising for you. And then in phase 2, you maybe are taking a step back. So let's say in phase 1, you notice, I don't know, like in a certain relationship, there's an issue that's coming up, or like maybe you notice in a lot of relationships, you're recognizing that you're starting to feel. I'm just giving one just random example here, but could be a common theme given where Mercury is in Aries with Chiron. Let's say, for example, in phase 1, maybe you notice that in a lot of relationships, you're feeling kind of irritated, or like a tendency to be kind of passive aggressive. Maybe you start to notice, oh, I have certain needs that are not getting met. And I'm noticing a tendency in me to react to that, my needs not getting met, by feeling passive aggressive. Okay. Like, so phase 1, maybe you just sort of notice that. Then phase 2, maybe what starts to percolate is, okay, so yeah, so that sense of being irritated and like angry, but not really expressing it directly, is still here. And maybe there's a way maybe I feel, a calling in me to do this a different way. Maybe, so you might start to feel into like, I really don't want to be passive aggressive. It's not in my value set. I don't want to live that way. So, okay, so how can I get my needs met and be kind and honor the needs of others, and yet not sacrifice myself, right? And do it in a way that's assertive, not aggressive, and also not passive aggressive. So phase 2 could be a time when you're really just kind of sitting with, okay, I know there's another way, and you're just letting that percolate, like wondering kind of what would that other way be. And ideas might come, and you might try things out, and like things might arise where a certain conversation comes up with somebody, and you have a chance to kind of check out, like, what would it be like to try out a different way of doing this. So that's a sort of typical phase 2 kind of thing, but not a given. I mean, that, again, share with us what actually occurs for you if you want. Okay, phase 3 then will, in this case, be from April 25th to May 13th. That is going to start again on April 25th, when Mercury is going to go direct on the north node of the moon at 15 degrees of Aries. So at the place it is right now on March 18th, it will be back at that spot on April 25th. And from April 25th to May 13th, Mercury now is going to make the third pass over the same part of the sky, 15 Aries to 27 Aries. And so this will be phase 3 of this journey. So this will be after the 2 eclipses have already passed. And this might feel like a time of maybe like, I just, the feeling I get in my body is like taking a big sigh of relief, and like, okay, now I get it. Like, yeah, all right. here is how it really lands in my body, that it feels an integrity for me to know my own needs, to voice my own needs, and I now have, at least figured out a certain version of how I'm going to move forward with kindness, getting my own needs met, and being honoring of myself and honoring of others at the same time. So maybe in phase 3, then there could be some kind of resolution, some kind of completion, some kind of like moving on with a new solution. Yeah. So those are the basic 3 phases. And yeah, just again, it just feels so significant and so beautiful. And there's much more there. Like I talked about, I think in the Eclipse video that I did, which definitely go back and watch if you want, if you haven't seen it. But Estrella and Ceres, in addition to Eris-Xena, are going to be very alive in this eclipse season. And so they bring in these other energies of nurturing ourselves and being here as bridges of the stars and the earth, Estrella. And yeah, there's just lots more there. So again, go back to the eclipse video if you haven't seen that yet. I'll link it with this. And if you want to go much more deeply into the eclipse season and have that channeled, guided experience of, in a sense, becoming each of the 2 eclipses, the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, that channel journey was one of the most powerful I've ever experienced. So it definitely it changed my life, like for real. I've channeled a lot of things. That was pretty amazing for me, at least. Yeah. And definitely, obviously, if you haven't seen the Soul Wisdom video with Melanie Reinhart and Heather Ensworth and Maura McBratney and Julia Balaz, and there's a group of 8 of us who are doing these soul wisdom circles 4 times a year. We just did the second one last Thursday, and it's up on my channel and on Julia's and on Heather's. Definitely recommend that. And more to come soon. Wonderful. Reach out with any questions. Oh, I also did share in the video, the Soul Wisdom video, and I shared with my email list. I have put up a free channeled ancestral healing meditation. So that was a meditation that I actually channeled in December for a group that I'm leading, and I was guided to share that particular portion of it for free. And it's a remembering of our original ancestry. So if that calls to you, certainly please sign up for that. You're very welcome to have that. And I think that's all for right this second. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you resonate with this, I would love for you to subscribe. You can also get on my free email list if you want. Anyway, just be in touch anytime. Like and comment and do whatever you feel called to do. I really appreciate all of it. Thank you so much. I will see you soon.